Now, I know that, like, one thing we talk about is like the benefits of pre-learning the material before you
Yeah.
go into a normal college course, because
Yeah.
you're just, it's a roll of the dice whether you're going to get a decent instructor or not. And so there's an argument there for like, well, like you should really take the course on our system anyway. But I know there's quite a few people who I've heard of who've gotten so fed up with their university math courses that where they're like, do I really have, like, I pre-learned the material, now I'm like in this like crappy, like the instructor's just going theorem proof on the board, and like I don't even, there's barely any homework that's assigned and graded. It's like, why am I doing this? This is all just a charade. Like, can I just like
Yeah,
move
sure.
on?
Yeah, it
And
is.
yeah,
It's yeah, I mean, one thing, just I mean, you've talked a lot about on X is there's so much variance in the quality of instruction between just individual instructors, and particularly institutions. I mean, I mean, some institutions are just really have really strong departments and they just have higher standards. But even then, even if you go to an elite school, you're going to get some people who are might be great research mathematicians, but are just horrible pedagogues, and they just kind of go through the motions and stuff, and it's mostly on you, and and they'll just assign these ridiculously hard problem sets and midterms, and really it's you and your group of study mates and that who kind of go, hey, let's all work together on these impossible problem sets, and you basically teach yourselves, so it's more like a framework for making you teach yourself, and as opposed to them providing a real scaffolded learning experience. But yeah, I mean, that's one thing I tell people. It's like, if you do Math Academy, so I've had some parents talk about, well, my kid did calculus in eighth or ninth or 10th grade or whatever, and they're doing, one of our university courses in high school. And they said, I said, you know what I would have to do if it was my kid? I'd say, do multivariable calculus, do linear algebra on our system, and then take it at the local state university or community college or wherever they're taking it. And then they will just absolutely annihilate it. And it'll be good because they'll finish it and it'll be presented in a slightly different way. And there'll be, there might be some hard problems here and there. And then, your kid will feel like a genius. It might be a little bored, but then they'll help the other students. But then they just kind of reinforce stuff, and it feels great, and they get credit for it. It's easy. But if you send a high school student into a university setting and they don't realize that they're not actually going to do a lot of teaching, that they're going to ultimately have to teach themselves, and they're not part of some like study group, we're all kind of helping each other learn them stuff, and they're sort of like supposed to learn this on their own, that can often a lot of times be really a bad situation. So they don't really get that it doesn't operate like a high school, because in high school it's like you get, in theory, if you're in a good high school, you have homework every night, you know 20 to 45 minutes of homework in your pre-calculus, your calculus course, you do it every night, and you have a quiz every week or two and a test every month, and the teacher's like, okay, this is how I keep everybody on the path. In the university, it's like, okay, here's a problem set, do it or not, or don't do it, right? And they don't even like, the grader might grade it, you might get it back 2 or 3 weeks later. And
yeah,
I mean, hell, I learned this in college the hard way, and we all learned, it's like you get the problem set on, you know, Wednesday, it's due the following Wednesday, and guess when you start it? The following Tuesday night. It's like, like, well, it's due Wednesday, I'll do it Tuesday night. Like, idiot. It's like 15 to 20 hours of work. You're not going to do it. You start, I'm going to start as soon as I get it for dinner. So you're going to work on it for 4 or 5 hours? Like, that's not going to work. It's just not going to work. And so, and that's hard for college freshmen to learn who aren't already really like strong, serious students who have a lot of self-discipline and are very good at self-organizing. You get that to a 15, 16-year-old, especially when they're used to being like really, really smart, and I get A's and everything. And, I don't really have to study that hard because I'm just so brilliant. Well, that doesn't work. Once you get up to a certain level, it doesn't work at all. And you can end up for some real crash and burn situations. Sometimes you get an 18, 19-year-old, and at least they're mature enough to realize that this is not working and they got to change strategies. So sometimes it's hard to get a 15, 16, 17-year-old to change strategies when what they're doing isn't working. They'll just ride it into oblivion. But if you already know everything, if you already know it all, then it's like, I already did this. Is easy.
Yeah. So right. Not only does the pre-learning minimize your risk of that bad situation happening, but it can also if you are blowing the class out of the water and interacting with the instructor, like that's setting you up. I mean, if you're a high schooler taking a college class, like you get a like amazing rec letter out of that. Even if you're a college student and you're blowing the class out of the water, like guess who is up for whatever opportunities that professor has in mind.
We got a fellowship you should apply for. We got a summer program. We got hey, we need a grader. We need a TA, whatever. They're like, oh, I got a kid.
You just get a reputation for being like the smart kid, and like it doesn't matter if you're being smart in real time or if you're smart because you've already built up a large knowledge base. You're the smart kid either way, and you get the smart kid opportunities, and that can compound into a virtuous cycle.
Well, for Colby, when my son Colby, he's now a senior in college. When it was like last winter break or something, he brought one of his best friends back home. He was, I think, interviewing for a PhD program at Caltech, and we're having dinner together. And he said, "Yeah, I have never been in a math class where Colby didn't already know everything." I was like, "You're welcome." And he's like, I'm like, "Yeah, it sure feels nice. You just come in and you're kind of like, yeah, it's easy." And his friend is a very bright kid, very bright physics major, whatever. And he's like, he had to work a lot harder because everything was brand new, where Colby, it was just kind of reminding him of most of it. Occasionally there'd be like, I remember Colby would come to me and he's like, "Dad, look at this." And he'd show me his class that he was taking his sophomore, junior year or something. And he'd be like, "All right, look, I already know all this stuff." I think you probably learned like 70% of it. I'm sure there's about 30% that you didn't actually cover. And you probably really remember 30% of it, right? Because of the 70, it's been a couple years, so it'll be a nice review. You get in, the first month is going to be really easy. Then it'll start to pick up after the first midterm. You're like, oh yeah, but you're just going to resuscitate that knowledge and then reinforce it and build it back stronger. And it's kind of not an easy A, but as long as you put in some effort, it should be a solid A, and then you'll feel, but yeah, I mean, that's an incredible position to be in because, for any of us who've been like a math or physics major, and especially if you went to a place that had a lot of top-notch students, I mean, that stuff can be, and you're learning stuff for the first time, and they are going at a breakneck pace, and they are not playing games, and they don't get retakes, and there are no studies. It's just boom, here you go, and then the average score is a 27 on the midterm. It's like, geez, it's brutal. And then you find out that like a bunch of the kids had actually, oh yeah, I took this at the state university when I was in high school, and you're just like, what? What, you guys, wait, half you guys have already taken this? This is bullshit. It's like when you're Spanish class, you got like a bunch of the kids who actually speak Spanish at home. And you're like, why are you in Spanish 1 or Spanish 2? Oh, I don't really write it.
Yeah, it's like you get gaslit into thinking you're dumb, and everyone's just like learning so much faster than you, and then the glass shatters. You realize they already came in. Yeah.
Like, oh, you guys all got the cheat codes? Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now I get it. But anyway, the cheat code really, as you're saying, what's the cheat code? The cheat code is learn the material before you take the course. And if you really learn it on something like Math Academy, I don't mean you just like read through a book for a few days before, but you mastered it in course, then you feel like a genius. It takes the stress out. It's a lot more fun. You go to study session and you're helping people, and you just occasionally a hard problem, like, oh yeah, that is an interesting problem. Oh yeah, let me think about that. But everybody's looking to you, and it's great. It's a great feeling. I recommend it.
Yeah.
I recommend it.
I should, just to clarify for anyone listening, the point of learning ahead of time is not to sit there bored in
Mm-mm.
class. It's so that you can actually like legitimately grapple with the hardest problems and actually extract learning out of those in an efficient way. And so you can be the go-to person for everyone needs help with the class. You're that person. You're getting reps on teaching this material to your friends. You're making connections with people. You're in the front running for any opportunities that the professor has in mind, whether it's research with them, research with one of their buddies, whether it's internship with a company they have a relationship with, a fellowship. You just you never know what it's gonna be. But if you are in that kind of like just like if you are the go-to person for the subject knowledge, you just get pulled into all these interesting uh, and advantageous opportunities that just compound one thing into another. Guess what? You got a great internship at a company this year. Well, your next year internship is probably going to be even cooler because now you have this experience that like nobody else has.
Yeah, well,
And it just
it's the sort of snowball effect
yep.
starts to happen. The compounding effect um, is what it is. It's yeah, that's a really good point about. Well, the other thing too, it's also like another type of spaced repetition. So you took this course on the system, you learned it. You know, maybe a year goes by, maybe a few months goes by, and then you retake it in the school. You got a little rusty because you know you didn't do it last week. Again, it's coming at it from a different angle, presented a different way. My notation might be a little different. You know what I mean? And by the time you get to stuff at the end of the course, it really has been a while, and then it just comes at and it's straightforward. That's why I was like with Colby, I was like, you know, you redo abstract algebra and this stuff. I mean, it's going to be so solid. You don't just do it once; you did it twice, separated by like 3 years, right? And that is
Mhm.
that. Then it's just like you're not going to be like, oh yeah, what's a group again? What's a field? What's a no? You just like bam, you know, which is great because you actually retain the information. It's the whole point of this is to like learn it and remember it, not just like learn it and just have it on a resume and say I did this at one point. I have no idea what it is anymore. So, yeah,
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 yeah, exactly. And this the compounding of the advantageous opportunities really buys you a lot of time to figure out what exactly it is you want to do. You can afford to kind of take some more exploratory time earlier in life and kind of settle into your niche. So sometimes like sometimes people ask me like, oh, wait, Justin, you were teaching for all these years. Like, when did you like learn how to code and stuff? Like, you mean you just like didn't know how to code, and then like you just like were teaching with Math Academy, and then you just like got the opportunity to like help build the system? Like, no. What I have to remind people is like, no, that was after I had worked for several years as a data scientist during college. Why was I able to do that? Because I had learned the like full undergrad math degree, like based on I pre-learned it basically
the
coming into my
MIT's
first
open
year.
courseware. Using
Yeah,
MIT's open
open
courseware in high
courseware.
school. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So like just you get ahead, you get opportunities, and you have time. I was able to say like after I was working as a data scientist, like, hey, this is still pretty early in life, so I can afford to go like, you know what? I'm not really connecting. My soul is not connecting with this job. I'm gonna go try this other thing that I have interest in, and then so do that for a bit. Eventually, things merge together into your little niche, and it buys you more time to find that. Because if it takes you too long to find that, then you never actually do find it because you have to pick something
you got to pick
and,
something. Got
and
to pick a
stick with
job.
it.
Got to pick a major. Got to pick a job.
Mm-hmm.
You know.